Well, good evening and thanks for joining us. Tonight, the Phoenix City Council is taking action aimed at increasing transparency when it comes to federal immigration enforcement. Thanks for joining us for 12 News at 10. I'm Mark Curtis.
And I'm Kariba Devine. It's called the Community Transparency Initiative. 12 News journalist Maria Stobbs is joining us now in studio. And Maria, this plan is already moving forward.
It is. It's an initiative that's been in the works for more than a month, built using community feedback on how federal immigration enforcement impacts families and city services.
This hits literally really close to home.
For Isabel Garcia, protecting her community is personal.
I still have a lot of mixed status family. I have undocumented family members. I actually have a cousin who was deported to Mexico under this administration, and so this directly impacts my family, and it impacts everyone I know.
Garcia and her organization, Poder in Action, have spent a month and a half working with the city on the Community Transparency Initiative, a framework that will document when federal enforcement actions affect city operations, launch a multilingual Know Your Rights campaign, require training for city employees, including park staff and librarians, on how to respond if federal agents show up, and limit when federal agencies like ICE can operate on city-owned property, including parks, without city approval.
Parks are such an important social, cultural piece in our communities, especially in South Phoenix and West Phoenix. If we take away that resource for community members, it's going to have a huge impact on many, many families.
Garcia was joined by dozens of others on Wednesday, urging City Council to act.
I am asking that you stand with workers and families like mine.
Growing up, I lived with a constant fear that my family would be next. No child then, now, or ever should have to live with that fear.
After hours of discussion, City Council passed the plan in an 8-1 vote.
Today's action is about ensuring transparency, accountability, and lawful coordination while protecting the rights and well-being of Phoenix families.
For Garcia, it's just the start.
We're going to continue to work with city staff and work with community members. It's a win, and there's still a lot of work to do.
And in the next 60 days, the city plans to launch a system that will allow residents to report concerns about federal agents, including possible civil rights violations. We reached out to ICE for comment on tonight's vote, but we have not heard back. Reporting live in studio, Maria Stobbs, 12 News.
Maria, thanks. Today, the council also took a major step towards removing the name of civil rights icon Cesar Chavez from many of the places throughout Phoenix. In a unanimous vote, council members approved a motion to rename the March 31st holiday to Farm Workers Day. The decision comes after recent reports of alleged abuse by Chavez, prompting city leaders to reevaluate how and who the city should honor. The motion also starts the process of renaming city facilities and removing street signs. Council members say this is all about aligning with community values.
We cannot simply erase Cesar Chavez's name for our buildings and think that we've helped. Our work to end sexual violence against women, I will be voting yes with the expectation that we are going to take material steps to end sexual and domestic violence against women and girls.
The city says within a week, all 43 street signs will be coming down. Many of the other changes are expected in the months ahead.
A man with family ties to Arizona is back on U.S. soil after being held by the Taliban for over a year. This morning, Dennis Coyle was greeted by his family and friends at Joint Base San Antonio. Coyle was detained in January of 2025 on allegations of violating laws, although Afghan authorities never publicly stated what laws he may have violated. Coyle's family said that his return is a monumental occasion. Coyle's grandmother, Mary, is the woman behind Mary Coyle's ice cream parlor here in Phoenix.
Happening tomorrow, Savannah Guthrie sits down for her first interview since her mother Nancy's disappearance 53 days ago. Earlier, the Today Show shared a clip from their heartbreaking conversation.
Wake up every night, in the middle of the night, every night. And in the darkness, I imagine her terror. And it is unthinkable, but those thoughts demand to be thought. Yeah. And I will not hide my face. Mm-hmm. That she needs to come home now.
Yes.
You can watch the rest of that interview tomorrow and Friday morning on the Today Show. And just a reminder, if anyone out there listening tonight has information about Nancy Guthrie, they're urged to call 1-800-CALL-FBI.
Well, lately, every trip to the gas station has been more painful than the last. But the rising cost of gas is hurting more than just day-to-day commuters. It's affecting those that rely on transportation as a form of income.
That includes rideshare drivers, people who drive for things like Lyft and Uber and even DoorDash. 12 News journalist Tiani Jadalang's in studio with us tonight. And Tiani, this has to be hurting their income.
Mark Caribe, the average price of gas across the country has jumped over 22% over the last month and a half. That's according to AAA. Here in Arizona, a gallon of regular gas is about $4.62. And in the Valley, it's even higher at around $4.87. For Uber and Lyft drivers, they tell us what they're pocketing is not what it once was.
You know, gas prices nowadays, the 20 that I used to do is not 20ing anymore. So I got to do more now, and it's really affecting me.
That's Jesus Lopez. When he's not working his full-time job, he's a rideshare driver for both Uber and Lyft. But what was once a full-time job isn't cutting it anymore.
If I would do this like Monday through Friday, and if I would add the weekends too, I was making like $1,600, $1,700 a week. It was really good. Right now, a lot of the money is going towards gas now, so I'm definitely dropping on profit now. So
he says when he's working for the app-based companies, he's able to take about 20 different riders per day. But he's specific about which riders he picks up, especially with the cost of gas. And those same adjustments are being made by other rideshare drivers we spoke to as well.
If you're new, you're going to want to take every single ride, and that's really not a good idea. You want to try to get as much money as you can and drive as less mileage as you can.
Don't just go to Apache Junction and expect a ride back, right? Be very strategic.
Most of the drivers we spoke to use this opportunity as a second job. But with gas prices like this, some are thinking about venturing into other fields.
I think maybe get my CDL or something and focus on something else, because this is not doing it anymore.
Earlier this week, DoorDash announced an emergency relief program to help ease the impact of higher gas prices for drivers. The program gives 10% cash back on gas, as well as weekly payments to drivers who meet certain mileage requirements. Live in studio, I'm Tiani Jadaling, 12 News.
All right, Tiani, thanks. Meanwhile, because of higher gas prices, the U.S. Postal Service wants to impose an 8% fuel surcharge for packages and express mail deliveries.
If approved, it would take effect in next month and would remain in place until January of next year. The surcharge would apply to Priority Mail and Priority Mail Express, USPS Ground Advantage, and Parcel Select. First-class stamps would not be affected. This comes after a warning from the Postmaster General last week about USPS financial crisis, saying that the Postal Service could run out of cash within a year.
Okay, let's get to our weather impact forecast. Chris, it was another weather impact alert day today.
Yep.
But the weekend is starting to look better.
Well, we're going to turn the corner over the weekend, Mark. 100 degrees was our forecast high, and our actual high today. Normal is 81. That's what we would expect at this time of the year. The record 99 just last year, so we beat it by 1 degree. The high country also getting in on the record highs. Look at all of the previous records. All last year. Flagstaff hit 77, 84 in Prescott at the airport, and Winslow at 92 degrees. All of these temperatures tomorrow will be in that 17 to 23 degree above average category. 20 degrees above average for Phoenix with a high of 101 tomorrow, 101 for Gila Bend, 99 Casa Grande, 70s and 80s in the higher elevations, 76 in Flagstaff, 77 Window Rock, and at the Grand Canyon. It's clear and mild out there right now. New, we have record heat heading into the weekend, but not through the weekend and not into next week, as we have highs in the 80s showing up next week. So that is something to look forward to. We're at 85 degrees right now. Remember, the normal high for this time of the year is 81. Here we are at 10 o'clock at night, still 85 degrees. I'll be back with that 7-day forecast coming up in about 6 minutes.
All right, we'll see you then, Chris. Thank you. It is a highly invasive plant that got its name from how bad it smells, and officials are now encouraging you to get rid of it immediately. It's called stinknet, and it can cause, yeah, it's a terrible name, doesn't it? Stinknet, yes, and it can cause problems for your health and the environment.
12 News journalist Chase Golightly talked to some experts about it. He joins us live in Tempe to show us what it looks like, and can you smell it out there where you are, Chase?
Mark Reba, I'll tell you, from where I'm standing right now, I can't smell it at all. And I'll tell you, we're at the Indian Bend wash area in Tempe, and they are all over the place. We got one right here that we wanted to show you. You can see how big it is. It doesn't look too bad. This one's a little bit dried out, and as I mentioned, from where I'm standing, I can't smell it at all, thankfully. But experts say these can cause serious problems. They're extremely flammable, especially when they're dry like this one. They're bad for your allergies, and they do hurt the environment.
And I've seen it popping up all over the place.
When Nate Kempton takes his dog Lexi out for a walk, it's a plant he avoids at all costs.
She has bad allergies, so yeah, I've definitely noticed it really bad this year.
He's talking about this, the stinknet, getting the name from its smell.
Just pungent, yeah, it's not necessarily stinky, maybe a little skunky.
Kempton is familiar with it, saying a few years ago he volunteered to help remove the plant around Superstition Mountain.
When you're picking it, you can definitely smell it. I've slowly seen it spread across the valley, you know, just going further west, and it's crazy how fast it spreads.
While it may look pretty with its bright yellow colored bulbs, it's an invasive plant that causes real problems.
Maybe even more importantly than the smell, it's an allergen. Some people are highly allergic to it, so it's an irritant.
Tempe Park Services Director Alex Jovanovich says stinknet is all over the city, from desert preserves to alleyways. It can spread easily. Just one of these bulbs has hundreds of seeds.
Ecologically, it does outcompete a lot of native plants. Takes away natural habitat of animals that are out in our desert preserves.
And when it dries out, he says these things can catch fire quick. And with so much, it can have devastating consequences, causing wildfires. Which is why he and other environmentalists say if you see it, get rid of it. You can do it by hand, but you have to be careful not to cause further spread.
Pull out the entire root system and then make sure you bag it before you throw it into the trash. It needs to be fully bagged so that way you're not spreading the seeds.
Now, if you have this on your property and you do want to get rid of it, it is recommended that you wear gloves so you don't get that smell on you when you're taking it out. It's also recommended that you wear a mask. That way you're not inhaling the seeds. Now, a city official told me that Tempe will be out here soon to remove all the stink nets out here in this area. But when I asked how long can we expect to see these things popping up across the valley, they told me this will be going on until the end of June. We're live in Tempe tonight. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
Chase, thanks.